Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to 2 AM radio.
Welcome everybody to 2 AM Radio. I'm your host, Rodeo Burrito, and today we have a really good friend of mine, Vnderworld, man. Thank you again for coming through, bro.
Yeah, definitely, bro. This has been a crazy year, and I'm just excited to connect with people around the world, you know?
Yeah. I think we all need some of that, right? Connection.
Yeah.
So, first question. How did you come up with the name Vnderworld?
You know, it's funny. I actually didn't come up with the name Underworld.
Really?
So I like in 2022, my boy had been in NFTs in like 2021, and I kind of saw him, you know, pump a bunch of bags, and he had a bunch of mutant apes and shit. I was like, oh, this is sick. Like, I've been doing art my whole life, and I never like, did it outside of just chilling and drawing for myself. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna quit my career and start making some art. And
Whoa.
like in 2 days he came up with this whole like generative PFP collection with with pixel characters. And he was like, yo, yeah, I got this thing I'm starting called Underworld. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So my homie actually started it, and he brought me on to do like the one of one characters. And
Wow.
then, over the span of the last 2 years, I kind of just morphed into Underworld doing AI art. And then, he'd started some of his own business with his wife, and then, everything came full circle. He started doing music. So he does all like the audio shit for us, and then we've been collaborating on the videos together. And he's like my technical guy. So we're trying to run Underworld like a business moving forward instead of just like one individual artist. So
Oh,
that's where the name Underworld came from.
that's a really smart way to do it, man. Get a crew and better than doing it yourself, right?
I mean, you look at all the like really big artists, and you think Claire Silver's just doing Claire Silver shit, and yeah, she's not. There's definitely like a team behind her. Um, as you get further into just traditional art, like that's how all the artists kind of run their shit, and it does help. I can be super creative and lean on him to help with the technical aspects of shit that I I
Right.
create sick shit. I can't figure out all this other stuff.
Right. And how did you come up with your style, man? You have a pretty crazy style, you know?
To be honest, I've always just like been into weird shit. Kind of I grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's actually when I met my homie, was in 4th grade in 2001.
Wow.
And like we were just always into like, gangster rap culture and death metal, and you combine all that, and I'm just a product of my culture.
Right.
And when I started to touch AI tools, like, man, the limitless possibilities of what you could create, especially with stable diffusion, like I couldn't do anything on Midjourney because it would just get censored. So I really leaned into like just creating the most wild shit I could think of. And it took me a long time to like develop that creative voice.
Mm.
Um, I started doing, one of the early people we connected with in this space was in October 2022. He goes by Black AI. I'm sure you're familiar
Shout
with
out to
Black.
Black.
Shout out Black. He's one of the real ones.
Right.
He like invited us into this private dark arts group DM, and then just like slowly formed this artist incubator, and like that's where I got to share a lot more work that I wasn't sharing with anyone besides my boy Hacks. And like people are like, "Yo, what? Like, what is this shit? Like, how are you making this? Where did it come from? What like spells did you use?" It's
Yeah,
just like,
man.
so I leaned into it because like I truly do. I it took me a long time to hone in a style, but like my prompting stays pretty same over Stable Diffusion, and I kind of carry over prompts from over the last couple years and mesh them and combine them, and like it just it just happens. It just forms
Yeah,
in a natural way. But like sharing the art and getting critique on it, that shit was vital for sure.
right, right. Because it feels like when I look at your art, it kind of reminds me of like this plate, with a bunch of recipes into it, and it's pretty masterful, man. And sometimes it's like when you look at the details, it can get really, really crazy. Um, you ever like get something from Stable Diffusion where you're like, all right, that went way too far?
Yo, yeah, I always joke about it with my homie. I'm like, yo, I gotta do a hard drive check on you, bro. If you send me shit. But yeah, man, Stable's crazy. You gotta tame the beast. It's just been such a fun creative tool to like, really create art that 99% of the art you're seeing in the space is been flooded by this mid journey. It's like a Snapchat filter.
Right.
Like I can always tell what a mid journey piece is. Now it's starting to blend because the realism is getting so good, but like the creativity that comes out of Stable Diffusion, the compositions that you get, the control you have over the art just lacks in every other tool. And like yeah, bro. Like you can
Wow, you're
create
really
some
selling it for
shit.
me, man.
You can create some shit that just like again you've never seen before and
So
you'll
how you
probably
go?
never see again.
How do you go from mid journey to Stable Diffusion? How's that work?
Well, I tried Midjourney for a month, June 2022 or July 2022, and then Stable came out, and I was using it on their platform Dream Studio, kind of getting a feel for it. But Dream Studio was still kind of censoring stuff, and I was like, I gotta run this shit locally and not be paying for it. So like I just made the investment, man. I was broke as fuck and I bought a computer on a credit card that I'm like
Whoa,
that I'm still
yeah.
paying off. I'm
Holy
just like I'm just like, yo, I gotta run this
wow.
locally.
Right,
I've
right.
never owned a PC before. Shit, bro, I didn't even own a laptop the last couple of years. I just been like on my
Whoa.
phone and my iPad because I worked for a tech company, so I always had like a work computer and I didn't give a shit. So like I got a PC and just yeah, I dove straight in the Python and like figured out how to install it and high level coding shit and I was just like, let's go. Once
Damn,
you
bro.
get that first output out and you're like, oh, that didn't it cost me a computer, but like I didn't use credits for that. I'm not paying monthly for this.
So, okay, so Stable Diffusion is free.
Yeah, so I'm running it locally through Automatic 1111, which is a free, it's open source product on GitHub. It's built by the community. It's open source. All the models are on Civet AI. There's hundreds of thousands of models and LoRa's and all this other shit that you can utilize in your creative process, and it's all free. And like that to me, like when I've studied a lot of like dystopian literature and shit, and like when you start the gatekeep with money,
Mm.
um these tools, and you heavily censor these tools, like that's a slippery slope. So what side of history are you going to be on in those early years? Are you going to say, oh yeah, like I'm down with censorship? I personally am not.
No, I can tell. So, have you always been this kind of person where you just go for it, like you're a go, go, go kind of person?
Yeah, dude, I'm a high risk kind of person. I've always, I played competitive ice hockey for 15 years.
Wow.
I did like I grew up near the Santa Cruz Mountains in California. And I was like I did downhill speedboarding, like whatever I could get a rush from. Um, yeah, like I was just always kind of ADHD kid, you know, just like do stupid shit, smoke weed in middle school, drink in middle school, get, I grew up in just a crazy area of California that was like very progressive. And you know I went to I got sent off to a military boarding school my last 2 years of high school.
Wow, you were bad, bad, huh? Holy shit.
Yeah, I was fucking up for sure, dude. I was big time fucking up, but like I was just yeah, that was some interesting perspective to go from being this like Cali kid to going to bumfuck middle of nowhere, middle America for 2 years and like wake up to a cannon shooting off at 6 a.m. Like
What?
military officer banging on your room, get your ass up, and like still being a piece of shit there too. So like being one of the only kids smoking weed and like buying it from all the local townies. And yeah,
Wow.
then I came back and just yeah, it was kind of a piece of shit my whole life doing weird shit, man. Sold
Yeah.
drugs for a while, and you,
Wow.
you know how it goes.
Hell yeah. The 2000s were wild, man. Early 2000s, man. We were
Early,
crazy
yeah,
back
I
then. We
I
were wild.
graduated high school 2010, so kind of gives a perspective on my age.
I was 2008, man. See that?
Oh, for
So I know.
sure, that's what's up.
So when you're getting all these outputs from your art, right? How do you know you got the right one? What does it feel like? 'Cause you must be getting a lot.
Yeah, usually like a session for me will it takes me like it takes me a it used to take me a lot to get a prompt dialed in. Now it's like I get a prompt pretty dialed within the first 100, and then
Mm,
I'm rolling the dice for another 500 or 600. And so I'm creating about 600 pieces, on a daily session if I'm prompting. And
wow.
you know, before it was, I don't know, dude. Like, there's too many now. There's like, I'm at that point where I'm just like, shit, bro. I'm making a collection every time I sit down to the computer and prompt. So like, I've minted 100 NFTs so far this year.
Is that challenging? Like the number you're getting, like does that make you feel like it gets harder and harder?
Um, I'm trying to do this daily project, so I'm trying to like, and it's not just like mint a piece randomly daily. It's like, with intention, create a piece that's specific to my day or my week or what's going on in my world or in the world around us and like current events and like challenging myself to do that. Short term, it's been pretty successful. Just people have had interest buying it. But I'm thinking a lot of like long term plays this year. Like, what will that look like in 5 years from now?
Right.
Um, I get inspired a lot by Beeple just because I grew up listening to Brain Feeder. Brain Feeder is the LA Beats group that had like Flying Lotus and um, a bunch of other people on it. And Beeple was on that record label, like making visuals for them. And this was in like, you know, 2010. This was when I like graduated high school. And I was like, oh, yo, these visuals are sick. And to see like what he did over a 10-year period, like that shit was motivating as fuck to see him like, go from being a visual VJ kind of guy for these musicians to like selling a whole collection at Sotheby's for $80 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
so like I'm just pushing out as much work as I can this year, and I've had a chat with Black recently on like limiting how much of your art's out there and supply versus demand. I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck about any of that. I just want to create sick shit and put it out there because there's so much stuff I made last year, and I'm just like, dude, I wish I minted that because everything's a timestamp. Like you look at all the GAN artists that were using AI in 2021 that minted shit then, those pieces are going for exorbitant amounts,
Right.
like because of the timestamp in history. So we'll look back on this time and it'll be flooded with a bunch of mid-journey shit, and the people that were making sick stable diffusion shit that minted it, I think we'll have a hype cycle in the future for sure.
Is that what you hope happens with your art? You
Bro,
get
I'm
flooded
banking on it,
towards
dude. It better.
right. Cause yeah, I mean, you got a really good start, man. Looking how Kazomo Ijichi, I forgot I said fucking it. But yeah, when you picked up your piece and you got Super Chief, exposing your shit, you're on your way, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I like I haven't made it easy for myself just because I do make really niche art. Um, I have this theory that you got to kind of like start in the darkness and find the light from there.
Mm,
And so like, I just I kind of just need to claim that title that I'm the darkest dark artist in the space doing it, like actively doing it. Like I don't think you're gonna see another artist in this space putting out raw shit that I'm putting out. So like
okay.
being able to claim that and then trickle into like more consumable mainstream, not like mainstream. I'll never sell out and be like, yo, go make my little fucking my make some like
Disney
fashion.
shit.
I dropped a Disney collection this year. It's fucking morbid,
Right.
dude.
Oh, I love that shit. Right. I remember that piece. That's insane. Right.
Yeah, I did, and then like from these dailies, I've been sharing the whole output set that I've made into this little private collection thing I got in Discord with some of my collectors, and they're just like, "Yo, mint this piece for me, mint this piece for me," and so I just like, fuck it, I'll make a collection from it, and so. I'm just trying to keep the momentum this year, and like Super Chief, I got some big shit cooking with them. I might drive down tomorrow. I live in Portland, Oregon. They just opened up a San Francisco location. So they're in LA, New York, Florida. They got a sister gallery in Tokyo, and now they've got another gallery in San Francisco, which is like a 8-hour drive from me. And I lived in San Francisco for like 5 years, so
Wow.
I might just cruise down there tomorrow, chill with Ed, see this new gallery, and I got a crazy project I'm working on with them for next week at NFT Paris. Empress Trash is using this new platform called Emerging Properties,
Right.
MProps, and it does long form generative minting. And
Whoa.
so basically, like, they're running stable diffusion on the back end. You're putting in your prompt, and then you've got control over a bunch of variables. So like I've got character 1 and character 2 yelling at one another in a location holding an item, and then like I've kind of switched it around and added some other variables, but like I've got like 15 different character type traits, and then we can like weight rarity on them.
Whoa.
And
Damn.
then like when someone goes the mint to this collection, it creates that image on the spot utilizing stable diffusion.
Bro, I definitely hope to see that because I'm gonna be on FT Paris. So
Yo, yeah, you will see this. Yeah, go see. I think it'll be probably outside of Empress Trash's solo. We're making some announcements around, Super Chief and M props, and then I'm with my boy Hacks. We're like helping them on the back end, building out a lot of stable diffusion workflows for this tool, and I'm gonna kind of immerse myself into this product a little bit more this year. So I'll be doing my first solo with Super Chief as well with this tool, and then you know
bro, that's
seeing
insane.
where it goes.
I'm so happy for you, man. This is some major shit. I'm definitely
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into some events from Super Chief. Kind of having a hard time, but hopefully, I get some a good response back. Um, did you ever feel like you had to dumb down your art a bit to fit in with the market? Or you're like, all right, I'm taking this way too far.
Yo, I just put out like the rawest collection I have put out to date.
No,
Like,
the answer is no.
no, and like no one except for like my two like top collectors, that they were the ones that are like, hey, mint these pieces for me. And then like I was like, fuck it, I'll put a 20 piece collection out around it, and it's called Lord Gore. And I
Ooh,
went deep in it. So go on the object, check some pieces out. They're crazy.
I love it, man. Because
But
one
like, yeah,
thing,
I'm not gonna hold myself back in this space. No, no, no.
yeah, I love that about you because it feels like you genuinely do not give a fuck. You're gonna do what you're gonna do, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, keep it moving.
Yeah, I spent a bunch of years being like a fucking tech bro, and like pretending to be this and pretending to be that. I'm like tired of pretending to be shit. I just want to like be the most authentic form of myself and put that out there, and really like be unfiltered. Like that to me is the pursuit of an artist. And you see like a lot of art school artists in this space who like, yeah, I'm treating it like a business, but like they're treating every decision like a business. And well, I won't put that out because that could hurt my reputation. Fuck a reputation, dude. Like, create sick shit and move on. No one's gonna judge you on it in a couple years. Like, no one will even remember it or talk about it, or maybe they do and it's highly praised. Who cares? Like, just make the art, put it out there, and like push yourself to challenge a lot of the norms. Like, I'm always trying to challenge shit in the space.
Mm.
I see a lot of like hypocrisy in this space, and so I'm pretty vocal. I don't like make a lot of friends with my viewpoints. Sometimes, like, I call out foundation marketplace all the time. Like, Kayvon fucking hates me, dude. Kayvon's the guy that owns Foundation. He hates me, bro. But like, artists are pissed off. We want more than 50 megabytes file size restriction. We want a fucking marketplace that is for the artist and not just the collector. And so that's what I'm pumped about M props. Like, I think they're making something that's about the artist and the collector, and even the flipper. Flippers are a part of this community as much as we want to like it or dislike it. Like, they're
Right.
the only people with money in this in this market. All the big collectors, they've run out of runway. You don't see a lot of people getting work collected from large collectors. So like, how do we tap into that as well? Will be interesting to see.
So how did you survive this whole bear market? What was your secret?
I just created, dude.
Mm.
I honed in skills. I spent 10 plus hours a day in Stable Diffusion. I
Wow.
built out an entire process, upscale process. I've mastered Deforum. Um, my big break was kind of getting a a music video with Peter Gabriel through the Deforum contest. Um, that was last June,
Mm.
and like, I didn't know it at the time. I made this video in 5 days, but it was like a culmination of 6 months of like building out these crazy motion parameters by hand. I think I did like a 3,000 frame output, single output, and like, yeah, I submitted that, and I wasn't sure. We got onto the Twitch stream. Claire Silver was one of the judges. Peter Gabriel was on the fucking call with us. And like, the day before, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're one of the finalists." They they were going through like the top 10, and like, the first 7 people in the top 10 just had like the sickest videos. I was like, "Whoa, I made it past the top 10." And then I find out like the top 3 people, I got second place. We got a commission for the video, for the rights of the video, from Peter's team. So he paid us 10K commission for
Wow.
that video. So that like that was a
Wow.
little runway for me for last year, for sure. That helped me through the bear, because then I did some like concert visuals for him too. and they paid me for that, and then I'm doing a second music video for them right now.
And man, I love hearing you talk about this story because I remember we were in the incubator and I was I was bitching about the fact that I lost this contest, and you're like, how many contests I lost before I
Yo,
got
yeah, I remember telling you that. Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
stuck with me, man.
Bro,
I was like,
I
oh
looked I looked on. I haven't been on Join in a while, and like Join will like Join Marketplace will show you like everything you've submitted to, and it's like 90 contests, and then
whoa,
I had like won 3. so so
incredible.
yeah, bro, just grind through all those losses because honestly, like anyone can win that shit.
Hmm.
Like I look back on it, I'm like, how did these people like? And I think it's all just because of like networking and name recognition within a space takes time.
Right.
You got to put in your reps. You got to do the repetition of like getting seen and putting yourself out there. And I didn't get picked until I put my true authentic self out there. Actually, no, I take that back. Yo, I submitted some wild ass shit to Black's to some of Black's early contests, October 2022. It was him, Illustrata, and Omni. I
Oh my
submitted
god.
some of my like craziest shit, and they're like, "Yo, yikes, dude."
Yeah, Black is cool as fuck. I don't think he'd ever tell you like, you just went too far on this one. He'd always welcome everything you make.
I'll show you the 2 pieces that I submitted
Oh
that
yeah,
definitely did not get selected. If it was just Black doing those contests, I think he might have. But like
yeah, but
Omni and Illustrata weren't going for it for sure.
oh man. And do you feel like there's a certain what's the word? Elitism? Like I forgot what the word is. How do you say it? But like people are very selective of artists and really like they really filter certain artists.
Um, I definitely have seen where like artists should have been selected for sure, and then it was someone that like had this is where the whole cabal thing comes into play.
Right.
Inner circle um type mentality that is alive in this space, is alive and well for sure. And so yeah, like that you won't ever avoid that shit within this space. And so it kind of feels clicky sometimes, and you'll see like I had this feeling with Cosimo D'Amici for a long time. I was
Mm,
submitting shit to those Tuesday art tank things forever, and like just like
mm.
totally ignored for all the deformed videos and shit. And like the other week, I was just like, "Yo, Cosmo, this is the last time I shill to you, and sell my shit cheap." And I like before I posted it, I posted a screenshot of black pixels. I was like, "Yo, 333 ETH, take it or leave it." Just,
No.
yeah, dude, and he liked it. And I was like, I saw that he liked it, and I was like, I gotta post the actual video right now because he's there, he's looking, and he liked it, and he selected it, and I was like, yo, that was the last time I was gonna submit shit to him for sure.
So really, are you done? Is it finished? Would you never submit it again for real?
um, I might in the future. I mean, now that I got selected, I pulled up a chair at the cabal table, bro.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
the inside guy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and I
I,
believe my bad, my bad. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut
no,
you off.
I was just gonna say now I just gotta elevate the homies. Like I don't give a fuck about myself getting shit anymore. Like I'm in the Discord. If you're in the Discord, come share some art. If you're not, I'll send you a link. Same with you, Gil. I see you on here. Like, come share some art. We're just trying to. This year. I really want to elevate the people around me. I get inspired by what Black has done for his artist community last year, and like
Mm,
how can I provide back to people who are we're always going to be having new people join the space, people who are my peers who are right there with me with the number of followers or art shows or whatever the fuck you want to, whatever KPI you want to measure yourself and your success off of. Like, we're all in this together. So how do we elevate our craft together?
Mm,
That's like first and foremost to me. And there's so much individuality there's so much individualism in this space, and like just trying to break out of that. And it reminds me of when I was in college, and like, you know, I was working at a dispensary in California. I was bringing weed back to the, my apartments right across from campus. The apartments were called the Dives, and like like kids would just be rolling through all day buying weed, and like I had like 8 or 9 like giant bongs and shit. And like we stole a bunch of paper and pens from the art school and the library. And like anytime people would come over, I'm like, you got to draw before you buy any weed from me. You got to draw something. And I was
okay.
so like they created this environment of just people drawing and doing art all day. And like I want to get that back. That was
Mm,
like such a time of like creative expressionism and collaboration. Like that's how art movements I feel like form. And so I feel like there's like little art movements starting to form. And one's definitely around dark art, and one's definitely around like maximalism, detailed work. I've been pioneering the upscale process for the last 10 plus months before Magnific came on. And like not everyone has access to stable diffusion and like doing all that shit, and I get that. But like now Magnific makes it so that people can start to do that. I mean, charging $40 a month's kind of crazy, but if you can sell a piece or two and make that back, then
right.
I think it's worth it. But like we're in a golden age with AI, in many other realms outside of art, but also within art. So like, how do we create sick shit together is going to be something that I focus on this year for sure, and elevating the homies.
That's beautiful, man. Because you touched about something really interesting. You talked about dark art, and the piece that Kazamo picked up, Farmer Gary, was it surprised me a bit because it didn't feel that dark, like from what we get from you. How come? Like, how come you went with something more tame?
Um, I mean, it gets really dark. It gets into that like cult shit. I use my like classic AI art cult prompt about
Mm,
halfway through there. Um, it starts off with the farmer, and then it goes, demon biker motorcycle gang, and then it gets to the clown, the murderous clown, and it's like, how about some balloon animals? Like that was all critique on the PFP culture, because we made that song in 2022, right on the heels of that bull market, right when the
mm,
bear started. And like all these fucking yield farmers, all these crypto yield farmers became these like PFP animal shills, shilling pudgy penguins and shit like that. And like we did a huge jab at them. We're like, yo, fuck shillfluencers. And then what the whole video is about, are the like Gary V type people like pushing shitty art as NFTs, and then creating their little cults like of
yeah,
of influencers. And it's like, you get the Gary V lyrics in there. How many of you know me or know my spiel? And then a bunch of like kids like yell and scream, "Yay!" It's just like, I think that's super. That piece is super culturally significant,
oh
and
yeah,
will be looked back upon for sure. And like, I'm actually surprised he collected that piece, because it does get pretty intense halfway through. Like
yeah.
as soon as I uploaded it to YouTube, like it like age restricted it immediately. I was like, God damn it.
Uh, because for me, knowing your work, I guess when you talk about it does get a little crazy, but I've seen how crazy you can get, and it felt
Hmm.
mine. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I've stared into your pieces for like a good 20 minutes, and I was just getting more and more scared. I was like, wow, this is getting wild. Like,
Dude, I love art that makes people feel uncomfortable, man. That's,
you,
I hate looking at art that doesn't make me feel anything.
mm, you
I
think that's
like art
important?
that I think it's super important to make people good art. I don't know. There's I have opinions about good art and bad art and art that makes you feel and art that makes you think as opposed to art that's aesthetically pleasing. And like I try to find a combination of the both, but like, you know, art to me is like it should make you feel uncomfortable. It should get you out of your comfort zone, and like reflect inward. Um, what am I looking at? Why am I looking at it? How does it make me feel? Are
Mm,
questions I always ask myself when viewing art. Um, and so I like to create things that are, reflective of, we live in a kind of a darker society that's starting to show a lot more dark imagery and like making that mainstream. And so, I haven't actually never talked about this. This is me kind of, leaning into what I think I am seeing more and more of in our culture. And like AI as a tool, AI is just a reflection of our culture. AI is
mm,
just a reflection of humanity. And so the fact that AI is coming up with this dark shit, like my
mm,
prompts aren't anything that crazy. Like sometimes they are, I'll be honest with you, but like, it's still like it's still in there and it's
mm,
still coming up with it. And the fact that the AI artists within AI artists, there's a huge lean towards dark art. Why is that? Has anyone questioned that? And will we start to understand that more? I don't know.
So, did you
Because
say? Sorry, I mean, go ahead, man.
no, I was just gonna say because this has come up in another interview I've done where like why dark art and why are so many other AI artists in the dark art, and I don't know. I'm curious what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, because this is what I had. In a way, I had a question for you. Kind of, do you feel like your kind of art or dark art is a mirror to society? Is that what you know? Are you
I
just,
think it's a mirror into some parts of me, and I'm a reflection of our society as well. But
mm,
I think it's also a mirror into our society, and like all of its beauty and violence and contradictions. Um, yeah, our
yeah,
society it, it does sugarcoat a bunch of shit, and like this is kind of what's underneath that sugarcoating. We've
yeah,
got wars going on every decade that we're funding, and as Americans, but like we've just got so much global catastrophe that we gloss over, and we completely ignore that dark sinister shit that's on the surface level, and we block it out and we distract ourselves with technology has been such a fucking curse to society,
mm,
bro. It keeps so many people brainwashed, keeps so many people complacent, to ignore the the shit right in front of them, and
mm,
not just like global conflicts in our communities with I like I don't glorify being someone who sold drugs in my life.
mm,
I was selling fucking you know blow for the Sinaloa cartel, dude. Like
whoa,
that's
what, for real?
like yeah, dude. Like, and I'm not proud of that. And like, we have a huge issue within America with drugs and like our open borders and drugs being flooded in rampantly, and like communities are being destroyed rampantly, and like just people are so distracted from everything that's happening around them because it's easy to be in our happy bubble and to not look at it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And were
So
you?
I'll definitely like lean on a lot of that shit in my art in the years to come. I'm still honing in the style and like all these things I want to talk about and I want to like bring to the surface and find a way to do it.
Were you ever like scared when you were selling that, the powder and shit for cartel? So like,
Um, yeah, like, yeah, I
yeah.
would. At first, like, I was selling some weed in college, and I've always known interesting people, and so my boy, connected me with this guy, good dude. I kind of knew him, but like these dudes that would show up, the one main dude, like he was fucking huge, and he was tattooed from head to toe,
Mm,
and like he would pull up to my place, and he would like remove like remove it from like part of his engine block. Like that's how he was transporting it. Yo, this dude ended up doing like multiple life terms. Like he got wrapped up on a bunch of murder charges. So yeah, like looking back on it, like I was not in my right mind at that time. I
mm.
like didn't think of it at all. And then I heard about all that shit later, and I was like, holy fuck, bro, what was I thinking?
You dodged the bullet, for real,
Yeah,
for
I
real.
was so blinded by, my own personal addictions and things that I've overcome over the years. Like I've sobered up.
Mm.
I still smoke weed, but like, yeah, I've
That's
sobered
good,
up
bro.
I've dried out from drinking, and like I haven't done drugs in a bunch of years. I've like, got my shit together, but like, I reflect on that a lot, especially going through like recovery programs. Like, yeah, man, I was very reckless most of my life.
Yeah. Hearing you say that makes your art makes so much more sense to me because I do feel like your story is placed into that chaos, that suffering, and that you feel like some characters are lost, they're in their own personal hell in your art. So maybe,
Bro, yeah, you said it, man.
because when I
Yeah.
first saw your art, man, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of Dali. And then I was like, wait a minute. Dali was about, what I'm saying? Like, he was about some trippy shit, some, dreaming and all that. And I feel like Underworld is more about, now fuck that dreaming shit. Here's some nightmares and here's reality. You're not dreaming, bro. This is really what's going on.
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard someone say it that way. That's exactly how I feel about the art.
Nah,
I've
dude.
always, as a kid, like, I didn't really have dreams. I always had nightmares, dude. I had night
Oh,
terrors my
wow.
entire childhood, and like, you know, to know, like, I don't know. I get very deep into thinking about dreams and alternate realities and different dimensions and, you know, realities and things that we can perceive and can't perceive. And I mean, I grew up in like a non-denominational Christian household. So
Mm,
like the idea of hell is very real to me still. And like some days I feel like we're actually in it.
right, right.
We're like this slave human race to the Anunnaki or some crazy shit like that. And this is all temporary in the real reality that's outside of this.
Yeah, man. That's interesting to say that because I truly believe that life it has its good moments, but life is more hell than death, in my opinion.
Yeah, this all just feels like a little simulation game, Like this feels like a test.
Mm,
Um I don't know. I'm very conflicted with spirituality and religious views and understanding, esoteric knowledge and occult stuff and Christianity and Judaism and Islam. I've studied a lot of Judeo Christianity and Islam. I went to a lot of like um Jesuit schools. Went to a Jesuit college. I went to a Jesuit high school for a couple of years. Like, religion's always been something that I've studied and tried to understand. And as I got older, spent a lot of time doing acid, and like doing psychedelics, and psychedelics really warped my perception for sure.
wow.
Um, yeah.
I can only imagine what you must have felt when you first got that image out of your first prompt. When you really all the crazy shit you make now. But I can only imagine what you felt, man. Like your first one when it got really crazy.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember the first. I mean, I still use parts of that prompt in all my prompting.
Amazing.
That's how much that prompt hit for me. Like I have morphed that prompt into everything that I do and create now.
Wow.
And that to me is like, wow, I can. That's how you kind of hold a style in this movement where having a style is hard to have because there's so many different stylistic options to you.
Right. It's yeah, exactly. There's so many options. And so last question, man.
Yeah.
Was that 4090X on the credit card or did it come out of your pocket?
That 4090 was from Stability AI, bro. They gave me a $2,000 gift card to Amazon to buy.
Wow.
And
That's
I
awesome.
waited and I was like, yo, I'm gonna wait. There's gonna be some Black Friday deals. I might be able to get a monitor out of this too. And like Black Friday
Wow.
came around and all the cards went from like 1,600 to like 2,600. I'm like, yo, fuck, dude, I blew it. But like a month later, I was able to cop a card and get the power supply to support it for. I only ended up paying like $22 out of pocket. So it
That's
cost
insane.
me, yeah, I had to get an 850-watt power supply to support this beast. And
My God.
my soon to be brother-in-law, he's an IT guy, so he came through and like, without him I would have never been able to install this thing, dude. It was
What a beast.
quite a crazy process, but it started up right away. And dude, ever since I got it installed, I've had it running all day, every day, just pumping out content. I'm sitting on like 4 or 5 different collections right now.
I can't wait to see him, man. Can't wait to see
Yeah,
him.
you know what? I might have to drop one this next week on Solana just for fun. I might do a AI art cult follow up from the object collection and do it on Solana or something. I'm sitting on a bunch of pieces from that. I should probably fuck, I got so much art to make and mint and do, and I just gotta like sit down and do it.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you for coming on, bro. I can't thank you enough, man. I hope you had a good time.
Bro, I had a great time. It's so nice to just connect with people around the world and to chat and to like feel that human connection
Right.
that we lack a lot of sometimes in this space. There's a lot of inauthentic connection in this space, and like doing this shit, like, have me on whenever. Let's chat whenever.
Oh
Come
man,
through
I'd
the
love to.
Discord, come share some art, come chill.
Yeah, I gotta
Like
come through.
let's vibe. I'll send you a link if you're not already in there.
Oh, I'm in there. I'm in there. Yeah, I love it. I gotta stop by. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I might even jump in there. I'm gonna talk to Black at like in a couple hours, but after that, I think I might dive into live,
Oh,
get in
nice.
the voice and make some art and just chill. Anyone
Oh
that
yeah.
wants to make some art and vibe out, trying to recreate those the dives days, minus the drug dealing. I ain't selling drugs anymore.
No more drugs. You're like Jay-Z, man. You barely got through, bro. Barely.
Yeah, I wish I was like Jay-Z. Shit.
You remember that story? I don't know if you know that story about Jay-Z that he had like a bunch of coke in his car and shit. And some like cop almost pulled him over. Well, did pull him over and almost like busted him. Like it's
Oof, no.
crazy story, man. So who knows, man?
That if he would have gotten busted, it
It'd
just
have been
takes
over.
one moment like that to change the whole course of your life.
Cause you could be like the Jay-Z of the Web3 world, right? The guy who made it. He used to sell powder on the side. That's wild, bro. All right, cool, man. Thank you so much for coming on, man. We'll definitely connect on the incubator tomorrow. Can't wait.
Yo, no doubt. Yeah, it was good chatting with you, bro. We'll keep in touch, man.
Thank you so much. Take care, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for taking a moment of your time and listening to our show. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you for tuning in to 2 a.m. radio. Until next time.